Like in the previous sessions of live masterclass session 1, I completed 3 modules. Module 3 is not completely done. Uh, I have to complete some extra topics in module 3. Module 1 is all about like introduction to Python. Uh, Let me just show you. Let me just go to the beginning of our Python masterclass live session 1. Yeah. So in module 1, I discussed about the introduction, data types, variables, identifies, everything. And then in module 2, I started discussing about control statements like type of control statements, looping statements, and the jump statements, everything. And we discussed some programs also. In module 3, I started module 3 with function definition, types of functions, built-in functions, and user-defined functions. And then I've shown some examples of functions like with return statement and without return statement. And type of arguments, there are totally 5 types we have. First one is position arguments. Next one is keyword arguments. Third one is default. And fourth one is variable length. Next, keyword arguments and the variable length. Next one is we discussed about scope. Scope, there are 2 types of scopes we have, local scope and global scope. Local scope means variables will be declared within the function. We can access only in that function only. Global variable, it will be declared outside of the function. So any function can access that throughout the program. Global keyword is used to modify a global variable within a function. And then I've shown you some examples of local variable, a global variable, and global keyword. And I've discussed about the recursion function. Then we'll continue today, like Python Live Class Master 2. Right. Let me open VS Code. I think I created a folder called as Python programs. Right. I think the last recursion we have done one program, right? Okay. So this is a program related to recursion. Right. Let's see another program for recursion like Fibonacci, def fib of n. Let me just turn up the Google Copilot for next 2 hours. Right. If n is equal to 0, return 1. Fibonacci series is something like 1 second. Fibonacci series. Initial values are 0, 1, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 1 plus 2, 3, and so on. Okay. So if n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, R means ORR in Python, n double equals 1. If it is 0 or 1, I need to return. I can't say 0 because if it is 0, 0 will return. But if it is 1, we should return 1, right? But it is 0. So let's return again. Else return fib of the previous value. Previous 2 values will give the current value, right? So fib of n minus 1 plus fib of fib of n minus 2. Fibonacci is like current values equals to like a combination of, I mean, sum of 2 previous values. So if n is equal to 0, then we have to write fib is my function name. This is a recursion. Recursion is a function calling itself. So I've taken n value. Then let's just right, let's read the n value and of input enter enter a, enter a value. Whatever the value is there, let me just call that. I think we can save the output in the separate variable fib of n. Without confusion, let's take the input as input is my variable. We can save the value in the output variable. Then finally, the output is equals to comma output. Let's go to terminal. Let's clear the screen. Py or Python, your wish. Demo.py. Enter a value. If I give 4, for example, output 3. 4, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, starts from 0. Perfect. The next one, if I give 0, for example, 0, perfect. If I give 1, for example, 1, perfect. If I give 2, for example, 1, because 0 plus 1 is equal to 1, perfect. So this is the recursive, and this is called as a base function or base condition. If the base condition is not there, we already seen like in the previous live session, like the function will be executed infinite times. Perfect. Now let's continue. Uh, I think the recursion is done. Then let's talk about the namespace, important concept. It is a container. It is a container that stores. It is a container that stores the mapping between variable names and objects. Basically, Python contains three namespaces. Three namespaces. The first one is local namespace. Second one is global namespace. Third one is built-in namespace. We have a rule called as LEGB rule. That means Python searches for variables in the following order. The order will be L. L means local, and then it will search in the E, that is enclosing. And then next it will search in the global. And then finally it will search in the whether it is built-in function or not. Local, enclosing, and built-in function. Local function and local variable, enclosing variable, and then global variable, and then built-in variable or not. Enclosing scope is like a non-local scope. Like when you define, enclosing is, I can say, nested function, like uh, a variable, a variable scope, like when you define a function inside the other function, that is called as enclosing. Okay, not directly in the function, function within the function. Okay, let's see one simple example. I'll create now. Let's continue this. I'll remove the existing code. Initial x is equal to 100. Let's define a function called as display. X is equals to 50. No need of semicolon and print of x. Now what I'll do is, like, let me just call display function, and then I'll call print of x. Okay. Now x is a global variable and x50 is a what they call local variable within the display function. When I execute py demo.py, first display function will be called x is equal to 50. and then the output will be 50 and 100, right? So this is global variable, this is local variable, right? If any of the variables not there, it will check whether it is a built-in variable or not. If that is not just going to match, then it will show you like a error, like a name error. Variable is not defined. Next, passing function as argument. As of now, we are passing only variables or values as an argument to the function call. But let me just uh, pass direct function directly. So for that, I'll consider an example. Def greet, greet function, return hello. Def display, another function, print of function. So here fun is the function argument, directly function, not a variable also. Even. So display is my function, and generally we'll give 20 or 30 like that, right? Let me just give a function directly as an argument, greet. So greet is the function. Sorry, not this one. Greet is the function argument. Greet is the function acts as an argument directly, not a variable. Greet is a directly function. So display of greet, it will go to greet function, return hello. Okay, no. Display of greet means it will go to this function definition display. Here fun is equals to greet. So print of that means eventually it is something like print of the output of a greet function, that is hello. So let's see that. Hello. So the execution will be like it will go to display. Here fun is equals to greet, and then print of greet function. Now here my function definition is act as an argument, right? Here in this program. So that is why that. So instead of just passing 10, 20, 30 as individual variables, now I just passed a function as an argument directly. That function as argument is a greet, and the display is display and greet. Display is going to use a greet function as an argument and display the output. Right. The next one is nested function. A function within the function is called as nested function. A function defined inside another function is called as nested function. So let's see an example, a simple example. The example, like, let me just create another a function, outer function, where it is going to display outer function. Inside this, I'll create another function called as inner function. It will print a statement called as inner function. So here in the outer function, if you write anything after print statement, it will be under inner function. Now let me write outside of the inner, inside the outer. So inner. In the outer function, I'm calling the inner function. Now finally, outside of the outer function, I'm calling the outer function, right? So what will be the execution flow? So initially, this function will be defined, nested function. Inner function is inside the outer function. Outer function will be called, it will go to outer function, print outer function, and then it will come to seventh line flow, inner flow function. I mean, inner function will be called, then it will go to fourth line. Inner function is defined and it will execute. Uh, like inner function output will be printed. Okay, let's see that. Outer function, inner function. So like this, we can write like this. We can include one function inside the another function. So let's continue our last part in module 3, which is related to lambda function, map, filter, reduce, very important. So this next one is lambda function. Lambda function. It is an anonymous function, or we call it as unnamed function, written in a single line. Written in a single line. The syntax will be lambda and will give set of arguments and your body of the function. We call it as expression. Okay. Let's see. So generally, if I just consider, if I consider normal function, for example, normal function will be like a traditional function, which we already seen. I mean, some demos also on this function definition. Function call will be there separately. But if I consider normal function, function definition, for example, my function name is square, argument is x, written x into x, four spaces, written x into x. And what we'll do, print of square of 3 is the normal function. So how to write the lambda function? Lambda function will be written as, so now your function definition is going to, the entire function definition in the right hand side will be assigned to a variable. That variable will become a function call. Okay. That means now square is a variable. Okay. Square is a variable. Now lambda, a keyword, x colon, x into x. Okay. X colon, x into x. Now, whatever the argument that you're going to pass, print off. So here as per the syntax, like that x will be arguments 5 or 3. Now it will be passed to function definition, right? Print of. Now my variable that square become a function call, that is x. Okay. So let's see this example. I'll create a new, all that like demo one dot py, because all program we have written in the one file only, right? Okay. So what I'll do is like square is equals to lambda. X is an argument. X into x is my function definition or expression. Print of square of 3. So this is an anonymous function. The best part of anonymous function is the syntax will be reduced. Okay, that is you don't need to use def keyword and all. Like instead of writing multiple lines, you can write in like you can reduce the function core, right? Usually, if you write what we call the normal function, you need to write call and everything and all indentation, everything blocks kind of code. So we can write in one single line like this. So py space no demo1 is my new file. So we'll see another example apart from this. Let me take a variable called as add lambda. I need two arguments, a comma b, colon, before colon arguments, after colon function definition, a plus b. Now print of add of 10 comma 20. So a comma b are arguments, a plus b is the function definition. Right. Let's see an example. Previous example is square of a number. This example is addition of two numbers. And the next example is largest number. Let me take max is equals to max of two numbers, lambda. I need two variables, a comma b, colon. If uh, if a is greater than b, then if a is greater than b, a comma b is the two values I need. If a greater than b, a if a greater than b, yes, else b. Simple. We usually write if a greater than b, written a, else written b. Like that, a colon a comma b a. Now print of, let's call max function 20 comma 30. The answer is 30 because 30 is the max number. Right. So the advantages of this, what we call, as I said, the advantages are like, of course, the shorter syntax and easy to write, and readability also improves because the code is less. Readability, right? Uh, Hello guys, I think my voice is audible. May I just get the response in the chat? The limitations are, there are some limitations that are disadvantages. It supports only one expression only one expression after colon. If you just want to write some like complex logics and all, it is not suitable. Okay, thank you. Complex logic. Now there are three important functions we are going to discuss now based on the lambda function syntax, which are map, reduce, and filter. Very important. First, map. It applies a function for every element of an iterable object or something. The syntax will be map function of function comma iterable. So we are just going to pass function as a argument and iterable, like iterable list or iterable string or anything. Okay. Let's see an example. Let's take a number list 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. This is a list. I discussed about list tuple dictionary syntax, but we have to see the what we call some functions also in it. Result is equals to, let me take map function of, first we need to write the function here. In order to write the function, let me use the lambda function syntax. Lambda, the argument is x and x into x. Okay, comma. I want to pass numbers as a, because here Numbers is a iterable object. Numbers is numbers is a list, right? So list is an iterable, right? Now print off, print off, print off. If I print result directly, for example, we'll see what will happen. P by So the point is it is printed in the object format. The point is uh, the whatever the input function input is like list format. Output also could be in the list format, like 10 into 10 100, 20 into 20, 20 400, 30 into 30, 40 into 40, 50 into 50. So let's just print the output in the list format result. So how to print the list in format? You need to use type conversion method, list of the output variable, that is result. Now you can see 100, 400. So what exactly happened here? So here, uh, for every iteration, for every iteration, one value will be taken. One value will be taken. One value will be taken. So what is that one value initially? 10. 10. So x is equal to 10. Now 10 into 10, 200. Okay. Like that for every iteration, second number, third number, until it finishes the length of the list, like it will take the one value and it will consider. So map function is something like it is going to apply for every element. So whatever the logic you have written, that logic will be applied to every element. Okay. And that entire output will be updated in the same list, that is numbers. But I assigned everything into another variable called as result. Okay. Now let's just see some kind of a real-time example other than this. It is just uh, it is just calculating square of every number in the list. Now the next example is salary. Salary is the list I have, and my salaries are 10,000, like 20,000, 30,000. There are three values we have. Now what I'll do is like let me just multiply something to the every element in my list. Okay, right. If you want to do this, I need to write a logic like this. For example, my general logic will be like this. For example, the logic will be something like 1 second. For example, my kind of mm, task is like increase employee salary by 5,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees. That is the task. But if you just want to write like this, I need to use for loop like that. I need to use a for loop. Like I just need to use for loop I in length of salary. Okay, colon. I just need to take the another variable called as output, and initially this is called as empty list. Okay, empty list. Now you take the value salary of I, that I whatever the value it is there, that value must be multiplied with I just need to add 5,000 to every salary, so 5,000, and that value, whatever the value is there, that value should be updated output dot append of append like this. Now finally, if I print of output, let me check the output now. Let's print salary and then let's print output. Print of salary. Right. We have to write a lot of code, right, to multiply. So salary, 1 second. Salary dot, we just need to get the length by using length of salary. So sorry, I just written one range, right? Sorry, range function. length of cell. Range function. We already discussed about range function in the previous master class, so please check that. Now here 5,000 got updated. Perfect. 1,500. 10,000, 15,000, to 20,000, 25,000. So this is a lot. It's just a complex code we need to write every element to be processed like this. So that's why let me just use a map function. Instead of this, let me use map function. So what I'll do is like, let me remove this logic and what I'll do is like I'll take a variable called as result, which is output variable map of map function. So map function is such a way that what are the logic you have written that plus 5,000 will be applied to every element. In one single line we can write. So lambda is a keyword and x should be plus 5,000. Okay. And then we need to give the input array. Input list is like a salary. Finally, let's print the output in list format like this. Now, it's a simple logic, right? It is taking every iteration, it will take one value that will be stored in X, and that X plus 500, sorry, 5,000 or whatever it is, increment value. Simple logic. Within one or two lines, the logic is completed. Let's go to filter. Let's go to filter function. Filter function is used to filter the elements based on the logic like even, odd, prime number like that. It returns it returns only those elements that satisfy the condition. Map is something like whatever the logic is written, that logic will be applied to every element. But filter is something like we can filter the elements based on the condition you imposed in your program, like even condition, like that. So filter same. The syntax will be there. Function definition will be there, and the iterable object is there. Iterable objects are something like we can process the every element using loop. Like so, map function will use a loop. Map is like iterable. The functioning will be based on iterable logic because the values will be processed for every iteration. If there are 10 elements there in your list or 10 characters in your string, every iteration will take one value. Okay, iterable. So let's talk about the filter one example. I'll take same numbers array 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then let's take result is equals to filter of, let's take a lambda x value initially 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50. And I want to apply condition like whether it is even or not. So how to apply x mod 2? If x mod 2 is 0, then that value will be filtered. And the input is numbers. Numbers is a list which is iterable. We can iterate the values. Even string also iterable. And of course, let's print the value, final value in the list of result. So I think every value is even, right? Okay, let's take a 43 and a 51. So that only first three values will be printed. Perfect. So within just single line I've written. Otherwise, if you want to write the main logic, for example, I don't want to write this filter logic. If I want to write without filter, for example, in the interviews they may ask like without filter, I want to print the even what we call. If I want to print even numbers from the list, then for I in range of length of numbers. And now if members of I mod 2 is equal to 0, then let's just print that value directly. Print of members of I, members of I. I think it's done. If the condition is satisfied, that number will be printed. Individually printed, not as a list. 10, 20, 30. So let's do one thing. As like previous program, let's take an empty list, which is an empty list. I'll add every value into my array, not array, sorry, list. What is the difference between list and array? List is something like uh, list is something like we can list is something like we can have both the homogeneous and heterogeneous elements. Result dot append of. I'll add that number only, not all numbers. Those numbers which are satisfied. Finally, let's print the list directly. Result list. This is a complex logic, right? If you see our filter logic, like it is simple in 2 lines. Let me just undo this. This is this is very simple. It's very simple program. Like so, let's go to another program. Let's take a marks. I mean, I'm still discussing the second example in filter. Let's take 20, 30, 45, 50. You can directly use foreign numbers also. Yes, correct. No need to mention length. Perfect. Directly we can use. So because numbers is iterable object, so instead of writing length, we can directly use numbers also. Automatically, it will take 1 second. I'll show you that one also. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll modify the program with numbers. We'll do one thing. In my second example, I'll show that. For example, my task is marks is equals to like 45, 90, 80, 23, 20. Now, the task is students scoring more than 60 marks. Generally, if I just want to write this, like I can write for I in range of people will use length, everything and all. So as it a list will have length, everything and all. So you can directly write for in marks also. So for in marks is something like, as you all know that range function will take iteration from index 0. If the length is 5, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So marks of 0, 45, marks of 1, 90, marks of 2, 80, marks of 3, 23, marks of 4, 21. You can take my, if you if you go with range, then range of length. If you don't want to go with range, then foreign marks. Now, what is the logic? The logic is we have to print the students who scored more than 60 marks. So for that, let's take if marks of I greater than more than not equal to just more than 60. So more than 60. If marks more than 60, then print that marks directly. Marks of I. Scoring more than 60 marks. 60 marks is equals to greater than. equal to marks of I, marks of print marks of I, for example, then it is going to give you, if it is, give me 1 second. I think the problem here is like, I just want to clarify one thing that uh, I'm not looking at any chat messages. So even if I'm getting any wrong, I'll resolve and then I'll just highlight the error and they'll resolve. So please try to don't post anything in the chat. Okay. Uh, the point here is like I just want to highlight one thing that if I go with the range function for example, if I print I, so the point here is like if I go with the range function, range of marks is a list. So let me add the length of marks as like as our previous program. So if I print this, the problem point is the I will be considered as an index. Here in this case, the I is an index. Okay. But if I give directly marks for example, then I is not an index. I is like individual value. So let's take a value in marks. Like range of length of marks means every iteration will give you index. But value in marks is something like directly length, right? So it will give you a value directly. So Python demo one. So now it is giving directly value. Perfect. So now let's just print if value is greater than 60, then let's print that value directly. Print that value directly. 98. Now, if you want, you can add that values into your list also. List is equals to empty list. And let me comment this and I'll add the value result dot depend of that value only I can use. Now, finally, let's print that list instead of just printing individual value. Print of result. Right. So previous output like 98 individual outputs, and now the type of you can just print the type of the result also. I think the category will be uh, list type. So the same logic if you written in the filter, for example, let's try the same logic in the filter because eventually our logic is based on filter. So filter is something. Let's write in filter of okay lambda x, and that x value should be greater than 60, comma the iterable object is marks is iterable because marks is input basically. So print of list in list format we have to print result. Even if I'm writing programs like I'll get errors, but I want you to show errors also. Let's fix it and then we'll get the output better. Instead of if I'm not showing any errors and all, I mean you can't debug in future. So let's fix the errors and let's go ahead with that so that I can tell you the logic why I just got the error accordingly. 98. So if you see the previous program without filter, it's like 4 to 5 lines of code, more logic. Here, like in one single line, I've written the logic. So x value initially 45, 45 greater than 60 false, 90 greater than 60 true, 80 greater than 60 true, 23 greater than 60 false, 21 greater than 60 false. So total two values 90 and 80. Let's go with reduce. Reduce. It reduces multiple values into a single value. Like, for example, if you give some list of elements, for example, 10, 20, 30, I want to print aggregate value like sum value, max value, min value, average value like that. So if you give multiple values, it will give you single value or aggregate value as output. That is called as reduce. Okay, reduce. Now let's see the logic. Before going to same, let's take a marks same. If I just want to apply sum, for example, you can take index or you can take value. If you want to take index, for example, value in marks, and what I'll do is like initially I'll keep a variable called as sum of marks. Sum is equal to sum plus sum is equal to 0 initially. Okay, here sum is equal to sum plus marks. Print of sum. So sorry. Here I just got one error. It's not marks actually, it is value. Yeah. So like this, the errors will come and we have to rectify accordingly. So uh, instead of giving individual value, I given directly list. List can't be, uh, we can't apply sum between some variable and the list. Okay. Some variable is like integer. Integer plus list not possible, unsupported operands. Operands means variables and plus is operator. So 259 is the, let's keep it 1, 2, 3 directly. So that simple sum 15. So this is the general logic we have to write. If I just want to write the reduce using reduce function, initially marks, okay, result is equals to reduce of reduce of lambda. We'll take two variables. So the logic will be like this. We'll take every two variables and what are the sum we are going to get that will be added to the next variable. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, and 10 plus 5, 15. That is the logic. Okay. A comma B, A plus B. There are multiple logics. I'm just following this logic. Numbers. The problem here is like for map and filter, we didn't get any error, but reduce, I'm getting error because we can't directly use reduce. Instead we have to import it. So for that, I'm going to use uh, a library called as functions. From function, not functions actually, function tools. From function tools, import reduce method. Okay, reduce method, and let me just take it as numbers variables. So reduce is not directly used. Instead, we have to import it. From function tools is a big library. From that I'm importing reduce only. Now let's print the result directly because the final result. Okay. So I'm showing you the simple logic and like the simple logic means using map reduce like that also. And without using function also, I'm just showing you. So this is the sum of n numbers, I can say. There are many, we can use recursion or we can use, I think, for loop also, as I just applied previously. Here in the reduce function, two members. So two members because like instead of adding all numbers at once, reduce process list the two items at a time from left to right, carrying the running total over to the next step. Okay, initially, as I said, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, 1 plus 2, 3, and then a is equal to 3, and the next number is 3, 3 plus 3, 6, and then a is equal to 6, b is equal to 4, 6 plus 4, 10, and then a is equal to 10, and b is equal to 5. Like this, we have to use. A always represents a running total, and b is nothing but a next individual element. Here, I can say a is my, the processing will be like this in the reduce function. This is the logic actually. So a is A is like a running total. We call it as a accumulator. And B is my next element, next value or next item in the list. That's right. Let's go with another logic like let's go with product of n numbers like just a plus b instead of a plus b. Let's go to a into b. So 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4, and 4 into 5, 120. If I give 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2 into 3, 6, 6 into 4, 24. Okay. So the differences between these three functions are map is more of it will transform the data. Okay, whatever the logic you want, the existing input will be transformed to other form of output. That is a transforming the data. And filter is something like you can filter the data. The name itself saying that where we can filter the data based on the conditions. And the last one is reduce. Reduce is something like we can produce a single result, accumulated result or aggregated result. Now the next one is a decorator. I think a good concept actually, decorators. Decorators, of course, it is a function that adds additional functionality to another function without changing its original code. So let's see an example regarding decorators. I'll create another file called as demo2.py. So one second. So what exactly the decorator is? Let's just create a one program called as decorator, def decorator. Within within the decorator, let's create another function called as wrapper. And let's print one statement like welcome. And I'll call function called as fun function. Here the argument is function argument, function, argument as a function as an argument, sorry. Next, return wrapper, return wrapper. Let's create another function along with decorator, message, print Python, print Python, and call the function like message. If I execute this, for example, what exactly will happen? First message function, one second. First message function, see, the example is like first only message functions will be executed. I'll just show you the example. I mean, the output Python demo 2, only Python. So what about this? So if you want to execute the decorator also, so we are supposed to add an annotation kind of, we call it as a decorator, like annotation in Java, decorator, we have to use decorator. So decorator, decorator. So now let's see here. So what will happen? So decorator. So this function will be executed, decorator of function. So this entire function, will be without changing the entire function will be passed as argument directly for the function. So then it will go to like the entire function body will be as an argument, that is argument. Then it will come to this logic. Here it will go to return wrapper. Return wrapper means it will go to wrapper. Wrapper function will execute print welcome. So welcome is printed. And then it executes function. Here the body is function. Here the function is what? Message. So Python will be printed. I'll repeat again. So this entire function has a one decorator. So this will be act as an argument to the decorator function. So now fun is nothing but your message definition that will print Python. So it will go to decorator function. Now in the decorator function, which one will be executed? The seventh line will be executed first. Wrapper, return wrapper. Here wrapper is a function. So it will go to function and then print welcome. Welcome will be printed. Fun means nothing but what? Message. So what is message function definition? Python. So like this, it will be executed. So the next one is modules. Modules in Python. It is, of course, module is also a Python file. I can say it is a py containing some variables, functions, classes, etc. It helps us to organize the code, and we can reuse the code also. Right. So what I'll do is like, let's close all the files, close all. Let's clear this terminal. Let's create a simple example like calculator.py. Okay. In the calculator, what I'll do is like, I'll create some functions like add of a comma b. That add of a comma b will do return a plus b. Like this, let me return sum of a comma b, another function, even though it is both functions are doing same logic, but still two different functions. Return a plus b, not sum, sorry, sum minus. Okay. Now what I'll do is like, I'll create another function, another file called as like demo3.py. Calculator is my program, which is already there. In the demo 3, what I'll do is like, I'll import that calculator, which is already done. So you don't need to write the code again, which is already done. Like our initially function tools where we use reduce, right? So you don't need to write the function for reduce. Okay, reduce already implemented. So whatever they already implemented, functions are there or variables are there or classes are there, we can use in our program by importing them. So how to import them? Import calculator. Import calculator. So now directly print of calculator dot, you can see add of two values 10, 20, comma 30. Like the same, let's call the second also print of calculator dot sub of 20, comma 30. So now the point is like, so many students will do this mistake. They'll think that we can execute demo3.py. No, no. If we execute demo3.py, luckily in some cases, you'll get an error that calculator is not defined. Okay. So if that is the case, for example, luckily like demo3.py and calculator.py in the same package, but my biggest suggestion is like recommendation is first to execute your module, that is py.calculator.py. Nothing will happen. Okay. So here some PyCatchy, like this module will be created like this pyc, Python, what we call bytecode. I already discussed in my introduction, and then execute demo3.py. Answer is 50 and 10, like that. Here I didn't get error. I directly executed demo3.py, but please execute the module first. Okay, because it's your own module. Like calculator.py is your user-defined module. Calculator.py is a is a user-defined module. So you can use that module in other programs like demo3.py. Right. So this is nothing but importing. For example, I just want to import a specific function. In that case, import from calculator from my main library, import add. So in that case, then let me comment this import add. Print of directly you can write add of 30 comma 40. Individually you can import right 70. Now comma you can just put comma and you can import sub also like this. Answer is minus 10. Okay. If you want to import everything, for example, sir, there are another function is called as null also, for example. I don't want to what we call I don't want to import the individual functions like this. Then do one thing. Instead of writing comma null, just write star directly. Star 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 means all all classes and all functions. Right. The next one is packages. It is it is a collection of related Python modules organized in directories. For example, let's take an example called as student management as a project is there, which contains which contains init file. What is init file is initialization file. Whatever, if you want to initialize something, you can put everything there. That is a file which will be executed initially. Okay, we'll discuss slowly in our next concepts. Next, some program like student.py is there. Next program we have faculty.py is there. Next program we have marks.py is there. Like this is a package like where we can just organize all the Python modules into some directories. Here my directory is student management. Student management. Instead of writing everything in one class, sorry, one Python file, you write in multiple files and you can import it accordingly, right? So like that, you organize everything into as a one folder. Here, folder is nothing but one package or a directory. Next, built-in modules. We have some built-in modules. So let's talk about that. As of now, we discussed about user-defined modules. We'll discuss about built-in modules. So the built-in modules are, let's take math module. Don't write math.py because math is keyword. Math module.py. Import math. Print of math of math dot. There are many functions you can explore like sine, cos, everything. Let's explore 2 to 3, not everything. Square root of 25, and then print of math dot factorial of 5, 120. Print of math dot 5. Print of math dot seal, seal of 4.2. Print of math dot floor, floor of 4.7. Print of math dot round of. Let me just check round is there. Let's check the values. Python dot math module. You can use tab also, py space. I'm using tab, so automatically first file, second file, dot slash will be there automatically. Or if you're confused, just type math module dot py manually. Square root of 25, it's 20, it's not power, sorry, it's square root. Uh, 25 square root is 5, correct? Factorial of pi 120, pi is 3.14, seal is 4.2, floor is 4.7. Seal is nothing but if it is 4.2, the next highest integer will be printed, which is 5. 4.7 means 4.0 to 4.9. The previous number will be printed, least integer, that is 4. Okay, that is the difference. So seal is the next highest integer. The floor is the next previous lowest integer. Not previous, like 4, 4.1 to 4.9. The value 4.0 to 4.9. The value will be 4 for this floor, and 4.1 to 4.9. The next value will be 5 only for the seal. Floor is like a floor will be like after dot, not after dot, whatever the value, it will be ignored and then 4 will be printed. Seal, the next highest integer will be printed. Next, go to random module. For example, 5.8 for the floor, 5. Next, 6.12 for example, 7 for the seal. Random module dot py. Random. Let's import the module random, which is built-in module random. We can print, if we just want to generate some random numbers, random dot rand integers 1 and 100. Within 1 and 100, I want to print values, and I want to take a random choice also. For that choice of, you just give some list of values either in numbers format or in a string format. That's up to you. Let's execute this. Random module.py. Uh, Here I just, one second. I need to give braces because braces is for the input purpose. Sorry. Right. So 14, 1 and 100 randomly 14 is generated. Java, Python, C, Python got selected randomly. The next one is datetime module. Datetime. Don't use datetime.py because uh, you're importing that, right? So datetime is already there. So you can't use keyword as your or module names as or class name as your file name. Import datetime and print datetime dot now py space datetime module dot py. One second. One mistake. You can't directly import. It should be imported from a base library called as datetime. From datetime, import datetime, right? Yeah. Okay. So with the date and time clearly. And the next one is OS module. I'm showing OS module here itself. Let me just comment the previous one. Using OS module, you can just use current working directory, everything. So print of os dot get current working directory, and print of, let's just print all the directories in my current directory, all the directories. And you can check whether the file is there or not by using exist function sample.py. It will be very useful in our file handling functions programs. Python programs is the current directory. Perfect. Yes, sorry. Open brace, close brace. Sorry. Current working directory is Python programs. Perfect. Next one, list of all files under current directory getting printed and false. Sample.py is not there. So let's check with demo.py. I think demo.py is there, right? So true. Perfect. The next one is system module, that is sys module. Import system, print of sys.version and the print of platform. Right. In the same file, I'm writing all these logics. If you want, you can create multiple, what we call separate files, system 3.14.6 and the Windows 32. So we're done with the modules related to functions, everything. Now, let me just clear everything. I'll open IDLE 3.9.4. Integrated Development Learning Environment. Let's close all the. Let's start module 4. So related to data structures like list, tuple, everything, dictionary, set. Now let's start strings initially. We'll perform some operations related to strings. As well know that string is sequence of characters. Some people will use single quotes or double quotes to enclose the string. Okay, single quotes Python or double quotes Python. That's the average. Anything is possible. So basically, a string may contain alphabets like A to Z, small letters or capital letters. May contains numbers or digits also, 0 to 9, or combination of digits, any number. Special characters, at the rate, underscore, everything, any special characters. Spaces will be there, and some Unicode characters will be there, like different special characters, like slash and slash B, like that. If you want me to go with, so let's go with string demo.py. Here, let me just give a language is available, Python. I want to print the type of Python language first, and then let's print that value language also. Py space string demo.py string. Okay, let me rename this. Sorry, rename. Right, a string and the Python. Perfect. Some important points related to strings. We call it as characteristics. It is ordered collection, ordered, immutable. Immutable means once it is defined, we can't change the value. Mutable means we can change the value. It supports indexing, like first zeroth position p value, first position y value, and the last position n. The length is 6. Python length is 6. I can print it length also here. Print of length function we already discussed in our previous sessions. Language, you can see 6. And if you want, you can just print the individual character also. Print of language of 2, 0, 1, 2, T is the answer, right? T supports indexing, supports slicing. I'll tell you what is slicing exactly. I mean, we can extract the some characters from this string, that is slicing, and it allows duplicate characters also. Of course, we can give duplicate characters in a string, and it is iterable. Iterable. Iterable means we can go through the characters in the string. P one iteration, Y next iteration, T H O N, like that we can iterate. Example, like let me comment this. For every character in my input string, which is language, I can print every character like this, so it is iterable. If you want to go process every value, every index value, then it's called as iterable. Example, list and a string. Right, right on. Another one is you can use triple quotes for giving multiple values. Like let's give some message is equals to triple quotes. Welcome to Python masterclass. Like this we can give. If I just try to print this multiple lines, previously I've given single line only. Control slash is for comment in the VS Code. I told in my previous class. Right. Welcome to Python. Next is like empty string. Text is equal to just double quotes. Just double quotes is something like empty string. Let's see the length of that string. Length of txt 0. Next is string indexing, like I variable. Individual characters we can display by using language of 0, language of 1, language of 2 until length minus 1. Indexing is used to access the individual characters of a string. There are two types of thing, that is one is positive indexing and the negative indexing. Positive indexing in the sense, for example, if you take Python, the indexing will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Length minus 1. The total length is 6. Index starts from 0. The negative, the negative index is something negative index is something like Python. This is minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. That's all. This is a negative index. Minus 6 is, so let's see this. We already discussed. Okay. Language is equals to Python. If I print, let's print three values with positive index. Language of 3, not third character, 3 plus 1 because index starts from 0. Let's print negative characters minus 2, minus 6. Sorry, it's square brackets. If that index is not there, you'll get index list is out of range like that. HN 0 HN. Language of 3 is H. Perfect. Language of language of 5 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N. Yeah, we got N. And language of -2 is 0. Perfect. 0. -6 is P. P. Perfect. Index error, for example, language of 10 I want to take. 10 is not there. So you'll get error. String index out of range. String slicing. So we can extract the characters you want, extract some portion of the string, extracts a portion of a string. So for example, let me take a string. For example, start will be there, stop will be there, step will be there. Hmm. So start represents the starting index from where you want this portion of the string, substring. Stop is like ending index. That ending index will be excluded. That character will not be considered. That is, that index -1 will be considered. We already seen in our range function concept. Step increment. So how much difference you want, like one after the other, or two character you want? If you want to give it the two characters gap or one character gap, that's up to you. Increment. So it's language is equals to Python. I want to print of language of 0 is the start and the end is 6. 6 will not be considered. 6 -1, 5 will be considered. The answer is Python. If I take 4 or 2, it's 6. Python, TYTH, and TFOM. Okay. If I give, for example, colon 6, for example, fourth one, right one, because initially the start will be 0 only, and the stop will be 6 -1. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, if I mention start and then if I don't mention stop, then we'll see 4 column. Increment is always 1 only if I don't mention. On starts from 0, sorry, 4, 4 up to end of the. So after colon, if there is no value, that is end of the to end of the string. Next, reverse of the string. I want to print reverse of the string. Reverse the string. Print of reverse of the string means start value. I don't want to mention, so it is just nothing. Stop value is also I don't want to mention. So 0 is minimum, max is length -1, which is 5, and the increment is -1. So I just want to highlight one point. If you give negative index, the max value will be your stop value, your min value will be your step value, because the -1 is like an increment. So it should increment from stop to start. decrement from stop to start, and increment from start to stop. Okay, let's see this reverse of the string. Okay, so minus is negative. Next one is a skipping. So if I just want to skip, for example, I don't want to mention start and stop, just colon two. For every two characters, first P will be taken. Next two characters skip, P will be taken. First P, P, and two increment means you can use slicing for patterns also, but it's based on the logic. I mean, we'll see that separate example at the end, not now. We'll go as per the topics. One means one increments like 0 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1 like that. Two means two character. So one character will be skipped, right? P and then Y is skipped, P, H is skipped to 0. N is skipped, but after that there is no character, so the answer is PTO. String operators, string operators. We have a concatenation operator plus, let's take a first is equals to verb, second is equals to sadhana, third is equals to samyoga. Print of, actually you can take first comma, second comma, third directly. Comma you can use for concatenation actually with a space. But if you want to use plus, for example, plus, first plus, there will be no space if I use concatenation symbol. I just need to use a space like this, plus and plus. Plus. It's a complex one, right? That's why people will go with the comma directly. Next one is repetition. Repetition like I'll use print of repetition like I'll I'll repeat. You can use a variable or let's use a string directly Python here. I don't want to declare separately Python. I want to repeat with a space like 4 times. Right. Membership operator, we discussed in our operators concept in the previous session. Language is equals to Python. And for, let's check whether P is present or not. P is present or not in language. And let's check whether A is present or not in language. Or let's check thon is present or not, or ph4 is present or not in language. Membership operator. P is present, A is not present, and ph4 is present. Right. If it is not in, for example, P in language, it is true. So P not in, false. We have some built-in string functions. Very important. We can check length. We can check max of. Next one, min of. Next one, sorted. Like for example, print of length, everyone knows that. Length. print of length of language 6. Next, if I go with the minimum, maximum means the point is how come the maximum value will be considered, will be calculated on the string? The ASCII values will be considered. You know, the ASCII values of small numbers is 68 to 122, right? 68 to 122. So small letters, right? So P, there is some ASCII value like that. So one second, max of Python, sorry, language. Right. Y is the highest value. That's why Y is printed and based on ASCII values. Okay. For every alphabet, A, capital B, small a, capital, everything, there is a ASCII value. Based on that, it will print character wise, max value and max character and minimum character. This is minimum, right? So sorry, I repeated. Based on ASCII value, I'll print ASCII values also later. We have order function and like uh, character function, and we have sorted function, print of sorted. These is also based on ASCII values only. We have some other functions like upper, lower, like that. So print of language language dot upper. We'll do one thing instead of keeping all. Let's take T by capital T H O N. Now, if you see the max of language for the given modified language string, the max is T because for capital letters the ASCII value ranges up to 92, 98 and 92, and for small letters up to 122. Okay, so small letters will have highest character and capital letters will be lowest as per the order. We got uppercase. Python is now using uppercase, and we'll use lowercase also. Right. Next one is capitalized. For example, language. Let's take str. My name is Surya. Let's print text dot capitalize. Not string, sorry. Why update? Why I'm taking txt as a variable? It is str dot capitalize. So in every word, the first letter will be capital. No, 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 no. In the entire sentence, the first letter will be capital. So my perfect. M is capital now here. Not every word. Next, if you want to have every word first letter is capital, you can go with, I think the function is title. Am I correct? Title. Right. Every word first letter is capital. Next, you can swap case also. Swap the case. Print whatever if the small letter is there, it will be changed to capital letter, vice versa. Str dot swap case. Right. Previously, all letters in small, and now all letters are in capital. Okay. Now, let me comment this. Let's take text is equal to Java. I want to use replace function. Text dot replace. Wherever there is a Java, I want to replace with Python. My favorite language is Java. My favorite language is Python. Perfect. Let's use split now. Split function. If I don't mention any split, just a day braces, I think it is split at space. Okay, space. My my favorite like that space. Next one is join. Join. Let's take languages is equals to Java, Python, React. Then I want to join of languages. The problem will be join should be done with the any using which character you want to join. Because if it is space, for example, give a space and a dot join off like this. So after every string, that space will be there. If you want to join by using hyphen, so that double quotes with hyphen. Okay. Next one is text is equals to Python. Check whether ends with starts with or not. Text dot starts with py. If it is starts with py, it is true, otherwise false. And the next one is ends with n or on. Let's take on. We can use find also. Replace, I think I've already done. We can replace the, let's check find like whether that character or substring is present or not. Find out. Check whether th is present or not. If it is present, th, the starting character of the t will be there, 0, 1, 2. So 2 is the starting index of t. Next, count. Count. Print of text dot count of count of o. O means one time. If I take Python space Python, if I give o, two times. So two times printed. Two times repeated. Next, very important, we completed like most of the built-in functions. String immutability. Mutable means once it is defined, we can change even after that. We can change the value even after the declaration. Immutable means we can't change the value once it is declared. As I said, the string is immutable. Strings are immutable, meaning they can't be modified after creation, right? After creation. Let's take text is equal to Python. Text of the index 1. In index 1, I want to give j, for example. Index 1 means y value, right? I want to replace with y value with j. So not possible. String object doesn't support We call it as type error, which is not possible. And how to do that? You have to you have to do like this. Index is equals to wherever you want to change. For example, in stuff P, give initially Python it's like P. I want to replace with J. So now we'll give J 5. Like this, it is. I think now it is possible. Index wise, I hope you can't change, but now it is possible. Okay. Now the strings related functions, everything is done. Now, as I discussed, let's talk about the ASCII characters. How to convert character into ASCII value. How to convert ASCII value into character. ASCII. ASCII is nothing but American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Is a character encoding standard used to represent characters as numbers. So each character will have an ASCII value. As I said, like starting from capital A is 65, small a is 97. I said 98, right? Which is, sorry, 97. 97 to 122. Yeah, 97. Like that for numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. For one digit, the ASCII value is 49. And for at the rate also, there is a specific ASCII value, which is 64. Like this 0 to 255 ASCII characters. And we have Unicode also. It is a ASCII supports up to 255 characters only. 20 to 255, total 256. But Unicode is a universal character encoding system which will support more than 1 lakh characters. Like all special characters, like some emojis also we can include. Universal character encoding system, standard or system that supports characters from almost all languages. All languages. So basically, Python uses Unicode only internally. That means you can give any kind of type of character, emojis, everything. So we have function called as order, ORD. This function, not order actually, ORD. This function returns the ASCII value of a character. If you want, you can write it here also. Order of, we have to give character C, order of capital A, 65, order of last one check, 90, 65 to 90, 65 to capital A to capital Z. You need to remember this, very important. 65 to 90. Small a to small z. 97 to, I think, 122. Mm, 126. Reverse function is there. Reverse is like CHR. CHR, this function returns the character to an to an ASCII value, not ASCII, actual Unicode also. We're also above one, not an ASCII, Unicode also. Unicode or ASCII. CHR. Okay, let's check. Care of 122. Check. Not sorry, CHR 122. Check. CHR of 48. 0. CHR of 9. Cap space. Okay. So we'll see a small program, demo 3. For CH in range of 65, starting from 65 to 91, let's print all the characters CH on the order worthy of the CHR of CH. CHR of CH will give you ASCII values, ORD will give you characters of, we'll check, py space demo py. CH is giving you, CHR of CH is giving the characters and their associated, what we call ASCII values. Perfect. The next one is list concept. A list is an ordered mutable collection. Mutable means we can change, that stores multiple values in a single variable, like a list variable. List can store integers. We can store integers. We can store floating point numbers, strings, Boolean numbers, objects, some mixed data types also, string with object, string with numbers, like that also we can change. We can assign list name with multiple values like value 1, value 2, value 3, etc. We'll use IDLE, or you can just use here also, that's up to you. I'm going with IDLE directly. Let's close this and go. Because single lines means I'm going with IDLE. Numbers of is equals to 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, and directly print numbers. If it is here, then we have to write like this. Listed demo. You can use this. Here we need to use print function separately. Simple. Py space listed demo dot py. Perfect. Mixed data types like let's take student is equals to, I want to say 100 with the Surya string value, and I want to save some Boolean value also like true. and I want to say some float value 50 like that. But let's print the student. Okay. We can do indexing like languages is equals to Java, Python, React, Spring Boot, print of. We'll follow as per the index. We already discussed this. One, print of languages of two. 0, 1, 2. 0 is Java, 1 is Python, React is 2, Spring Boot is 3. Okay. Negative indexing, we already discussed. -4, -3, -2, -1. Let's go with -4 and -1. Reverse. Python, React, and Java Spring Boot. Okay. Spring Boot, Java. List slicing, like print of, like start, stop, step. Already discussed, right? List numbers of languages of 1 with -4. 4. Start value is 1, 2, 3, skip next to 4. 2, 3. 4 means like it will not take 4, 4 minus 1, 3. No, no, 1 colon 4, right? 1 colon 4 means start value 1 and stop value is 4. Step value is 1 only. Sorry. So 0 is not there. 1 index Java. 0 index not there. So 1 index is Python. Python comma. Next value is React and next value is Spring Boot. Okay. Let's see some CRUD operations in Python list. Create is add something. Read, update, and delete. Let me create an empty list, students. It's an empty list. Let me append. Let me append Surya. Append will add the value at the end of the string directly. Students dot append of Ram. Print of students. Surya Ram. Okay. So this comes under create. CRUD operation create. Next one is read. Students is equals to like names is equals to, for example, Surya Ram Ravi. print of names of two reading. You can use for loop also. I'll show you that. So I'll comment this previous one. Sorry. Okay. 0 is Surya, 0, 1, and the last one. 0 is Surya, 1 is Ram, 2 is Ravi, 3 is index out of 1. Then this is beyond the range, right? 0, 1, 2. N minus 1. Length is N. Length is 3. Am I right? So this will not be printed because we have error in this line. It's an interpreter. So until unless you did fix this error, the next it will not go to next line. So I'm commenting this. 3. Next one is update. Names of 2. Instead of Ravi, I just want to change it to Krishna. Then let's print it. Okay. Next, delete. Simple one. I just want to delete Ram. Just del names of 2 or 1. Let's print names. Okay. So some list methods we have, some common list methods, append, extend, and all. We'll see that. Numbers 10, 20. Numbers dot append of 30. Print of numbers. So let's see the exam difference between append and extend. Then 30 is directly added as a, like, for example, if I add 30 comma 40 like this, so you can see this 30 comma 20, 40 add as a list directly. Okay. Now if I add, if I comment this numbers dot extend of 30 comma 40, sorry, it is 30 comma 40, right? So append and extend is appends adds the the elements at the end of the list. Extend is something like you can add multiple elements. It's not about multiple and all. Append will whenever you want to add a list to the list, that will be considered as a list only. But extend is something like that elements will be added as individual elements. Like that list is will be added as individual elements. That's the difference. Next we have insert also. Uh, the best part of insert is uh, we can just add we can just add the elements wherever you want. So numbers dot insert of, I think at first position, like after 10 I want to insert 30, right? So We can use remove also. Let's put 30, 40, 50. Remove also, like members dot remove of. I want to remove 20, for example. Is 20 there? There. So 20 removed. Next one is we can use a pop function. Pop. Recently, whatever, it's like a stacked approach. Pop of members dot pop of. Just a pop. Just a pop. 50 is got deleted. Okay. Removes an element using its index. Pop means the 50, and I just want to pop with the index, like 2, right? 30 got removed because 0, 1, 2, right? Next one is clear. All elements will be clear. Numbers dot clear, right? Empty list. We can print index also of a specific number if it is there. Print print of numbers dot index of 20. 1. Next one is count. Print of numbers dot count of 10. The count is repeated one time only. Okay. So when you sort numbers dot sort of clear the screen. Let's see the order. It is already in order. That's the problem. 12, 8, 6, 50, 11. Let's see. 6. Okay, perfect. 6, 11, 12, 30. Next to descending order, then there is a one attribute called as reverse is equals to true. Okay, descending order. Next, we can print a reverse also. Numbers dot reverse. If you want, you can do it in ideally also directly. One by one, you can do like that's up to you. Length, I think we already printed length, len. Max, min, sum, already done. Right. So list all operations done. We'll see the programs later. Let's see a continuation to the list comprehension. It is a it is a concise way to create lists using a single line of code. It is generally faster and more readable than using loops. Loops that we have to use for in range everything and all, but list we can directly write the logic. The syntax will be like a new list, square brackets of expression that is a logic for uh, each element that is item in iterable object that is list. Iterable is your input. Example, let's take example like squares of a numbers. Squares of numbers. Numbers is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Squares is a new list, and I want each number multiplied with the same number, that is square, 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. I think we have done kind of a logic in lambda. And for every element that is x in numbers, for every element in the sense 1 in first iteration, next iteration 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, from the input that is numbers, put into squares. There are many ways we can do that. Perfect. Next, even numbers. Let's take even for x, x for for x is a number for x in numbers. We're going to take x only if the condition satisfied. If x mod 2, that x only will be stored in the even list. Print of even true 4. If I remove this, the problem will be, the error will be square brackets was not closed because before 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 for there should be expression, right? Yeah. Yes. Let's see convert to uppercase. Next program. Let's take names is equals to Java, Python, React. I'll take a result list. I'll apply name. Yeah, name is the individual element for every name in input names. Print of result. If you want me to tell the difference between traditional loop approach versus list comprehension, in traditional loop, we'll take a numbers empty list for I in range of 5 or the length of the list, and the numbers dot append of I. So each element will be added to the list. Okay. But if it is list comprehension, numbers is like I for I in range of 5. Like this, we can append and we can add to the numbers. For every I element will be added to numbers. Like example, like I'll take a numbers array, initially numbers, and my loop will be repeated until 5. Numbers dot, let me append 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, positive integers. I have to use print function. Numbers. Okay. The same thing, I just want to go with list comprehension, for example, then numbers of that I is going to store for I in range of 5, print of numbers. Right. The next important one is assignment versus copy. Assignment creates assignment creates another reference to the same object. For example, let's take a list 1, 10, 20, 30. Let's take a list 2, which will take the list 1 values, and then list 2 dot append of new value like 40. Let's print list 1 and list 2. List 1 values are like 10, 20, 30. List 2 values are 10, 20, 30, 40. The point is like now the list 1 values also got 40, because whenever we just add the statement list 2 is equal to list 1, the point is like when you add anything into list 2, the same the same will reflect to the list 1 also. So the memory representation will be initially like 10, 20, 30. The memory representation will be list 1 and here list 2, and always the value initial from 10, 20, 30 will be having 2 values. So both variables, the point is both variables point to the same object, point to the same object. That's the problem. Even if you add like list 2, any value in the list like 40, that is getting changed in the list 1 also, reflected in the list 1 also. So what is copy then? That is assignment. What is copy then? Copy is going to create new object, but previous one is like a same object, point out to same object. Example, don't use list 1 directly, instead use copy. Copy. Now list 1 as is same 10, 20, 30, but list 2 changed, different references. Next is shallow copy. Shallow copy. Shallow copy creates a new outer object but shares nested objects. There is a one module called as import copy. Let's take list one contains two values. First value is list, second value also list. Now let's take, see, every time I'm giving 10 comma 20 comma 30, but first time I think so. List, I kept a list in within the list. List 2 is equals to, let's use a copy module, copy of list 1, list 2 of 0 or 2D, this is a 2D representation, the value is 100. Because list 2 of 0 means this value, in that 0 is 10 value. So instead of 10, I'm going to give 100. So print of list 1 and the print of list 2. So let's see what exactly the shadow copy is. Right. List 1 initially 10, 20, 30, 40. Shallow copy creates a new to object but shares the nested object. So list 2 0 0. Initially I copied the values of list 1 to list 2. So list 2 0. That means at 0 position 10, 20 is there. At first position 30, 40 is there. List 2 with the 0 0 index means 10, 20. In that 10, 20, what is the zero value 10? That is going to be changed as 100. Okay. So here what exactly happened? Here nested objects got shared. Okay, nested objects got shared. Previously also like same objects got shared in the assignment, right? So the memory representation will be like, for say, list 1, okay, A, that is going to be 10, comma 20 plus 30, 40. List 2, B, same nested objects. So nested objects are nested. A list within the list is called as nested object. So list is list 1, again which contains 10, 20 and 30, 40 as two list. So nested objects will share the common data. Deep copy. So in this case, the reference should be different actually. We'll see. It creates a completely independent copy. That is what we want. We don't want to take other objects data and copy, including nested objects. So here, instead of copy, let's use copy dot deep copy. The 10, 20, 30, 40 separate, the modified values separate. Perfect. So difference between shallow is like shares the nested objects. Deep copy shares, sorry, it is an independent object. Shallow is like a faster, deep is slower. We have done with the list in all ways. We'll do multiple interview based questions and placement based programs later in the next session. I covered the topics in my list. Let's start tuples, or we call it as tuples also. A tuple is an ordered and immutable collection because once we define, we can't change the value. It comes under data structure in Python. List is done. Now tuple. So tuple demo.py. Let's create a tuple like student. The the syntax will be like normal braces 101 Surya 90.5 or 9 point whatever it is a float value. Let's print student. Let's print the type of the student also. We have a type function to type student. Tuple demo. So how we can access the elements? Let's take numbers. Like we can access elements like our list only. There is no doubt in it. Numbers of through index only. One. Answer is 20. Index starts from 0. So let's see the tuples methods quickly. Print of, let's repeat some numbers. Print of numbers dot count of 10. 10 is repeated 2 times. Let's see the index of that particular number. 20. 20 is repeated 2 times. It is giving first index. If you see list versus tuple, list is mutable, tuple is immutable. List will be like this, tuple will be like this. In list, we have more methods to perform operation. We have fewer methods. It is slower and it is faster. Next one is set. It is an unordered collection of unique elements. Duplicates elements will not be allowed in list. Set demo.py. Let's take numbers. It could be square brackets 10, 20, 30, 30, 10. I repeated 10, 30. Let's check the output whether it is going to allow duplicates or not. Py space set demo.py. Perfect. Duplicates are not allowed. Let's see some set methods. Members dot tuple is a immutable, right? So we can't add, we can't perform any kind of operation. That's why we don't have much methods are there. Let me add 60 print numbers. Right. Let's remove one 30. Okay. Let's discard. For example, if I remove 40 which is not there, let's check whether we are going to get error or not. I got the error which is 40 is not there. If I go with discard, 40 is not there. Error there or not? Not there. For remove, we are getting error. For discard, we are not getting error. If no error if the element is absent. Next, union. Let set A is equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Let B set is equals to 3 comma 4 comma 5. Print of A union of A capital A union of B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So duplicates elements will be removed, of course, and it will be printed in order way, ascending order. Intersection. Common elements will be printed. In both the sets, common elements will be out. So three, three is a common element. Difference. A minus B means common elements will be removed from A set and remaining elements will be common elements means 3. So 3 is the common element that will be removed from A. So the remaining elements are 1, 2. That will be printed. If it is uh, B difference A, common elements 1, 2 will be removed. So 3 will be removed. Remaining elements in B are 4, 5. So A minus B is not equal to B minus C. Very important. Next, dictionaries. Next, data structure dictionaries. It stores the data in the form of key value pair. Example, dictionary demo. I'm taking this. List tuple set dictionary. Student is equals to curly brace key value pair. My key is ID. All keys should be in double quotes only because those are like variables. Value is 101, that is number. Name is key and its value is also string, so Surya. Next, age 26. CGPA 9.8. Let's print student. Python py space dictdemo.py. Copy it. Here is one important point. Keys should be unique. If I give this ID 101 again, that will not be considered. Okay. And we can access the values also, individual values using key. Print of student of, let me just name. Only name key value will be printed. Okay. Next we can use get also. Yeah, get student dot get of name. Sorry, that is square brackets, and here it is open brace. We can add new item like student of. I'll add new item like department is equals to CSC. Let's print because dictionary is mutable. We can add values. We can change values also. And I just want to change age to 27. Okay. So updation also done. Deletion, simple thing. Delete student of. Let's delete CGPA. Let's see some kind. Let's see some dictionary methods. Print of student dot keys. All keys got printed. Okay. Let's see all values separately. Perfect. Let's see all the items. Both keys and values will be printed. Key is like a unique name for the value, right? Both keys and values. Let's print only students. Student. Student is a dictionary. Here I just want to add pop method. Student dot pop of. Just pop means what will happen, we'll see. No, we need to add a pop. We need to add in list pop. Pop without arguments means last element will be whatever you inserted at the end, that will be removed. Here, let me just remove CGPA. Right, CGPA got it. Pop item. Pop item is the last inserted. This is the difference between, yeah. Pop item means the last inserted elements will be deleted. CGPA. We have update operation, update of, uh, like I want to update ID with 102. And if you want to add new value also, you can do that. I want to update city with Guntur. Update is two ways, existing or new one. Okay. We can clear also. It is empty dictionary, curly brace. We can iterate through dictionary also for every key and value in student dot items. Print of first key value should be printed, next value should be printed. You know already student dot items means key value. So I'm taking key and value separately. Right. Now, dictionary concept completed. We'll see the examples on all data structures like list, tuple, set, and all clearly later. I'm focusing on the concepts to be covered. We'll start the next important module, which is module 5, I think so, which is object-oriented programming. What is OOPS, everything and all you can see in the Java masterclass. Okay, I clearly discussed what is class, what is object, what is data abstraction, inheritance, what is polymorphism. So please go through that because the theory part already covered. So whatever the programs we have done in the Java using OOPS concept, I'm going to discuss in the Python. That's the only difference. So please watch episode 4, Java Masterclass in detail. So you'll get to know what is procedure-oriented programming, what is object-oriented programming, what are the different types of concepts like class, object, everything. You please go through that one because it will save nearly 30 to 45 minutes of our time. I don't want to repeat all the theory part again in this masterclass. You can go through that Java OOPS concepts clearly. Only difference is there we've written the programs in Java. Now I'm going to write in Python. That's the only difference. Perfect. Now class. In Python, if you want to create any kind of class keyword we have to use class name, and we need to mention variables, and we need to mention methods. These are syntax. So let's see one example, demo 4.py. Let's create a class student. If you don't have any variables and nothing, just use pass. Just a pass. Pass means nothing. And how to create an object in Python? Object in Python means object name is equals to class name of. That is how you have to create. Here, let's create an object called as s1 is equals to student of. If I print this, for example, nothing will be printed. Pass means empty block. We already discussed in our previous live class. Py space demo4.py. Nothing is there, right? S1, just S1 object. No properties or no methods. So whatever this is printed, this memory address will vary each time when program runs. Okay. For example, if I create a second object, for example, it will create its own s2 is equals to student. I'll create second object, and this will create second memory object. Okay. Each object will create its own object. So class creation done, object creation done. Now in Python, we have a one keyword called as self keyword. So it is a reference variable that points to the current object. Python automatically is very important. Python automatically passes the current object as a argument, one of the argument as a first argument. That's that too. First argument as a current object as the first argument to every instance method, like whenever you create any object. So let's see an example, a simple example here. Class student. I don't have any variables. Let's keep method. Method name is display. You by default take argument as it is very important. Okay. Print of welcome. Welcome Python. Now let's create an object. So within the class, I created a method. S is equals to student of. S is equal to student of. Student dot sorry, object is yes. Here S S yes is an S is an object of type student. Uh, do we have STR? No. In Python, we don't have HTL like the standard template library like C, C++, and all. Instead of that, Python will provide you different built-in methods, so we have to use them. S dot display self is a keyword in Python which is used to refer the instance variables in the class. Welcome Python. Self is a by default argument. You have to use that. So as of now, we don't have any variables in my class. I used only a method. Okay. So how Python will internally execute this program? We'll talk about very important. So here, what exactly happened when we write s dot display? Uh, I didn't I didn't understand what you said. Like if you want to follow, you can follow. Otherwise, you no need to you can no need to watch this. Let's just see the background, the internal execution of this program. When we write when we write a program like I mean a line like student dot display, when we write student dot display or the object is s dot display, the Python internally converts the line into s dot display of automatically whatever the object we created, that object will be passed as an argument to this method. So that is s. So s is an object. So now that s will become student. That self is nothing but a student, or yes, s is an object basically. For example, if I create an object like student is equals to student of. So here student is an object of type student. Student is a class. Now what will happen whenever I just call a function display, then automatically whatever the object I used, automatically student dot display Give me 1 minute. So whenever you use a second object like student or display, then automatically that student object will be considered the argument. So that is a self. Now the self the self object will be here is like student. So how to access instance variables? Instance means object. Everyone knows that. I think that's why please watch Java masterclass for all the theory part and all. Let's create a class student and let me create a function called as set data. Automatically one argument like self and the next one is name I'm going to take. Whatever the name that you're going to give, that name will be assigned to my instance variable self dot name, right? So this second argument is like my value, and that value is going to assign to the class variable name. Next, display self print of. We have to use self variable only to access the instance variables, everything and all. Self keyword, sorry. Let's create an object s1 student s capital s1 dot set data. Let's pass Surya and let's just display of. So let me clear this screen. Demo for. Now the point execution will be first the execution will be the class will be defined and then s1 is equal to student. So that means student of s1. Now s1 will be the self. Now it will go to s1 is equal to student and then s1 dot set data of Surya. That means self comma Surya. Self is s1 comma Surya will go to this set data definition. Self means s1 object, right? Comma name is Surya. So the Surya will be assigned to name. Now the one of the variable in the student is name, and the method is display. So why we just need to require self? Like I already told that self is required to access the instance variables of our. So but why is still why self is required in the sense without self. For example, if I don't use self, for example, Python will not be able to know which object you have used. For that purpose, we are using self. So it can't determine which object's data because we can create multiple objects based on the class like S1, S2, S3 and all. So that self will decide which object we are using. S1 Surya, S2 object Kiran, S3 like that. So based on the object references like S1, S2, like a self, through self variable, it will identify from which object the data is coming or accessed, could be accessed. For example, if I give a class, a student, def set name of, if I give name, for example, then print of name. The point here is like if I use like this without self variable, it doesn't have it doesn't behave as an instance method because it lacks the self parameter. So without self parameter, for example, if I try to use this, if I use like this without self, the problem will be the point is like set data, we are passing one value, but actual set data needs two arguments. One is by default argument, which is self. So self comma name. That's the problem here. Right. So if we consider the object life cycle, first class will be defined. Class will be defined. After class definition, object will be created. After object creation, memory will be allocated for every object. For every object, the memory reference will be address will be different. And whenever we just create an object, of course, constructor will be executed. The by default constructor, non-parameterized. Object will be used to access the variables and methods. And then finally, after execution, object will be destroyed. Right. So let's talk about the new method in this Python, underscore underscore. In most of the in Python, most of the keywords and methods, like morely methods, we have to use by using underscore underscore, new underscore underscore, underscore underscore underscore, new underscore is the first special method. We call it a special methods executed during object creation. So let me just take an example for this. I'll create a class called a student. I'll go with the student class only. You define this special method underscore underscore new underscore underscore class. Let's print let's print the new new called. The new method is called. Return. We'll use super method. Super method. I'll discuss super method. Super method is used to access the parent class methods from child class. Dot new class. We'll create the object student of. So the responsibilities of what we call the new method is it will allocates memory. I mean, it will always run behind the class, but I'm just showing you the usage of that new method. But it will execute during the object creation, but in the behind process that will be hidden. That is called as abstraction. Returns the object reference. So whenever object is created, for example, if I remove this, new method is called. So you don't need to use this return super also. So just a simple one, uh, simple logic like new method will be executed whenever this new method, special method will be executed whenever object is created newly. Okay. The next one is init method. Init method and init is the initialization method. There is a one common difference between new and init. This is called immediately after new method. First, initially new method will be called object creation and the init method will be called that is a constructor. Constructor. It initialize. It is going to use for the initialization of the data during object creation. Initializes the object's data like variables. This method is also called as constructor. Example, let's use def underscore underscore init underscore underscore. Let's use print of student object is created. So new method is taking class and even if I don't mention anything, for example, if I don't mention anything, a student is like new method is taking a class. Okay, whatever the class you've used for the object creation. So new method is called new. If I remove this, for example, then during object creation, init method. So init method is a constructor here. So there are two types of constructors. Two types of constructors. One is non-parameterized constructor. Second one is parameterized constructor. Non-parameterized constructor is something like init method with whatever we have written like this. So here the object is created. This is without parameters. This is empty parameters, no arguments I can say. Now let's see with parameters, constructor with parameters. Let's take a class called a student and I'll define init method. I'll take two values. One is ID, next one is name. My arguments, I'm going to pass that data through object. Self dot, through self only we have to assign the values. I already discussed what is the purpose of self. Self dot ID, self dot name. Let's do one thing. This ID one is my value, name one is my value. This ID is student variable and name is student variable. Two variables are there in my class. Two properties or two instance variables are there. Name one. Don't confuse. Let's take a display method. Use self. Let's print self dot ID, comma self dot name. Student is equals to. Let's create an object of student. If I if I use this method, there is no use because my init method contains two arguments. Self is a by default argument, ID one, name one. So it is default parameter, but I need non-parameterized two values. So self comma ID1 comma ID2. It will search for a method with three arguments. One argument is by default, that is self. Second one is ID and third one is Surya. Student dot display. Right. So this is a constructor with parameters. So what exactly difference between new and init is? New is something like it creates the object. Init is something like initialize the object. And new is something like new will be executed first, and then immediately after that, init will be executed. The next one will be delete method. It it is it It is known as a destructor. It is called when an object about to be destroyed is about to be destroyed. Let's see that. We'll create that one. These are the methods already there, and this new method, init method, del method will run always in the background. But I'm just going to show you the implementation of it. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't mean that we are defining separately. No, it will run in the background, and I'm just showing the implementation, how it will be executed, how when it will be executed like that. So del self object is destroyed. Student is equals to student. So del student object is destroyed. So whenever object is destroyed, that method will be executed. Next one is instance variables. These variables belong to an individual object. Each object maintains its own copy of those variables. Let's see an example. Class student def underscore init underscore. I'm creating a constructor to assign the data, one instant variable name and one by default argument self name. Let's create the object s1 is equals to student. Class is yes capital sorry. Surya. S2 is equals to student. Okay, let's clear the screen. Print of s1 dot name same s1 dot s2 dot name. Like this, we can use the objects with instance variable. You can, if you want, you can call the method also. For example, def display. Okay, I just want to use self variable. So put an argument like self. Print of self dot name. So let's comment this to s1 dot display s2 dot display. Let's take a class variable like let's define a variable like this directly here. Like I just want to display college or you can give none also. That's up to you. Okay. If I give initially KLU, for example, then this init method is going to give assign only name value only. Here, let's print self dot college. KLU is common. I assign directly in the, this is called as class variables. If I want to change the KLU to something else, then s1 dot college KLU, s2 dot college KLU. So in that case, let's keep initial value as none, nothing. Okay. So I think we completed the basic parts of the class object. We'll see inheritance, polymorphism, and exception handling. Then we'll close this session. Right. So we'll see the inheritance concept, how to use, how to act, how to check the, how to check the concept, how to demonstrate the concept inheritance in the inheritance is something like one class is going to, I mean, the parent class and child, two classes will be there. The child class is going to acquire the properties of what we call the parent class. That is called as inheritance. So let's see the example of single inheritance one. Let's create a class called as animal, which is going to define sound method with by default argument as self to access the instance variables. Animals make sounds. Let's create another class called as dog. Dog is going to acquire the properties of animal. So dog is child and animal is parent. Def bark of self. Print of dog barks. Animal is a parent class and uh, child is a dog is a child class. Let's create the object D dog. Using D, I can access both of course child class method that is bark and the parent class method that is sound. Let's see that. So using inheritance concept, the child class D object is is accessing the parent class method, which is sound also. Right. Next one is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance is not possible in like in Java. That's why people will use interface concept. Let's create a class called as grandparent, which contains a grandparent function definition. Don't say it as a function, say it as parent. sorry, method because we are using object to access it. Self print of grandparent. Like this, let's create a second class, which is parent. I'll copy paste and let's change it accordingly. This is parent. This is also parent. And the third one is child. 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 Here, parent is going to acquire the properties of grandparent, and child is going to access the properties of parent. Okay, so grandparent to parent, parent to child. Eventually, grandparent to child because A to B, B to C, A to C. Let's create a class for child. So child can access its own method, that is child. Child can access parent method, and the child can access grandparent method also. Right. Like this, we have hierarchical inheritance and what we call multiple inheritance is there. Let's see the example of super program, super method. It is used to it is used to access the parent class methods from the child class. Let's create a parent class like parent. Initial constructor I'm taking. Print of parent constructor. Let's create another called as child of parent. Child of parent means you're inheriting the properties of parent. In Java, we used to write expense, right? Here, brackets. Def init. So the automatically the logic comes like again I'm taking init method, initialization method. Whenever object creates, this init method will be called. So super dot init method. So the parent class method will be accessed. And now I'm printing a small statement like child constructor. Now if I just create an object like C is equal to child, what will happen is automatically default constructor will be called. That means uh, it will go to this class, this init method. So initially super dot init parent class, parent constructor, and the next line child constructor will be answer. Instead of init and all, instead of confusing everything, let's take a normal user-defined method called as display. Okay. So this is parent display method. And here in the child, let's take display super dot display method. Display. Here statement is child display method. Now created c dot child. If I c dot child means just object is created, not automatically will be called because there is no constructor like in it. C dot display. If I give this, what will happen? So first C dot display in the sense it will go to child class, I mean display, and the parent class super dot display will be printed and then child class display. For example, without any confusion, let's take a show here and super dot show. So parent class using super method, I'm accessing parent class method followed by child class display method will be executed. Let's see a simple example on exception handling in Python. In Java, it is try, throw, catch, finally. In Python, it is try, throw, except, finally. Instead of catch, it is except. So let's see a simple example. Try block, A value 10, B value 20. And I just want to print the division of these two numbers. And except, let's take the zero division error with the print of statement can't divide by 0. Try block is used to execute the logic. If there is any exception, exception means runtime error. Please please go through Java masterclass. I've covered all the theory part there, 0.5. But if the denominator is 0, then automatically the exception will be thrown to catch block, which is except the block, zero division error. But the point is like this program will execute only if there is a zero division error. Okay. For example, I want to I want to go with multiple exceptions, not only zero division error, for example. For example, let me take value error. Like 1 second. Zero division. And the next one is except with value error. Print of invalid number. Here in the logic, what I'll do is like two exceptions I'm just handling at a time. Based on the runtime error, it will execute. Let's take a number input, int of input, enter number. I'm going to print that number divided by that number, 10 by that number. For example, if the number I'm going to give as a 20, for example, 10 by 20, 0.5, nothing will happen. If I'm giving that 0 as zero division error will be executed, right? Instead of other than integer, if I read a string, for example, invalid number, that is a value error will be there. Okay. Instead of multiple exceptions, you can give like this also. For example, except as e, except e, print of e. Because I don't want to give individual values like except zero division or name error or something. So I just want to put a variable like some variable that whatever whatever the exception comes in future. So expect exception as e. Right. So now here I'll put some statement like exception occurred, comma. Let's see now. If enter number is 20, nothing is happened. If a denominator is 0, yeah, automatically division by 0. That error is going to print directly, no problem. Now let's see an example with try catch with else also. With else. Here, let's put else, print of program executed successfully. So this else will execute always. The else will be executed when there is no exception, 20. Perfect. When there is an exception, it will not be executed. That is the difference between except and finally. The finally will be executed always. Finally, always executed. So let's see that. 20, there is no exception, still executed. There is exception, still executed. So that's the difference between else and finally. Instead of throw, in Python, we use rise key. Rise is a keyword we'll use in Python. Very important. Rise. Instead of catch, it is expect. So let's take age. Let's read age. Int of input of enter age. If age is less than 18, for example, I want to raise value error of not eligible to vote. Print eligible if it is greater than or equal to 18. So it is a custom exception using rise, that is throw in Java. 19 eligible, 16. So we got exception. It is not error, it is exception. Not eligible to vote. Right. So with this, we completed most of OOPS concepts. And what I'll do is like in my next Python live session 3. So whatever the concept we have done, all modules up to exception mod, like basic Python, control statements, dictionaries, or this, I mean, data structures, OOPS concepts, exception handling and file handling. I'll cover the competitive coding related problems in 1.5 hour. Like I'll cover coding pro coding related programs, which covers which covers which covers all modules in Python, which we have done so far. Okay, so I think we nearly completed 4 hours of live session. I think you please watch Java masterclass for the theory part and all. So accordingly, you can apply the logic here. Okay. Thank you so much. And if you think that this content is useful, and please share it with your friend and ask them to like and share and subscribe. So for all the updates will not be posted in YouTube channel. Only content will be posted. So for all the updates, please uh, follow Instagram channel Web Sadhana Samyoga. For all the useful content, please subscribe to Web Sadhana Samyoga in the YouTube. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support.